We're Manchester Acorn. We're a community union. That means that we campaign to improve the lives of everyone in the city. Right now, people are struggling with their housing situation, especially renters. Dodgy letting agents refuse to make vital repairs to their properties. Rogue landlords hike up rents and evict tenants illegally whenever it suits them. And while this happens, Manchester City Council sits idly by, despite having the power to intervene. That's where we come in. Together, we take on those letting agents to win repairs and compensation for our members. We lawfully prevent landlords from evicting us from our homes, and we use our strength in numbers to pressure the council into action. We even support the odd strike or two. We're in the middle of a cost of living crisis. Energy and food prices are up, council tax is up, rents are soaring, and wages meanwhile are going nowhere. Because of this, residents across our city are having difficulty with their bills. So, what's the council doing to help? Well, they're sending bailiffs round to charge people for paying their council tax late. And if you can't pay, they start seizing your belongings. Acorn is campaigning to put an end to this inhumane practice. We believe it's time to boot the bailiffs out. So, what's our case? A third of bailiffs are estimated to break the rules around debt collection. Over a third of people visited by bailiffs report that they felt harassed and intimidated. Bailiff fees had an average of £310 of debt for people struggling with council tax arrears, leading to agonising choices between heating and eating. Half of people in debt have a mental health problem, and people who've experienced a financial crisis in the last 6 months are 8 times more likely to think about suicide. Not only is there a strong moral case against bailiffs, they don't even work on the council's own terms. There's no evidence that council tax collection rates drop when councils stop using bailiffs, and rising debt drives people further into destitution, leading to greater costs in healthcare, social care, employment and housing support. In other words, pushing people into debt and poverty is a false economy. Our members Viv and Paula were both visited by bailiffs. Here's what they had to say about their experience.
In 2019, I was working as a childminder. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. They said to me it was the bailiffs. I was quite shocked because I knew that I didn't owe any money. They told me that I paid my council tax late by a few days. Therefore, I had to pay the rest of the money for the rest of the year, which was £600, and I did not have that money. They said I could set up a payment plan to recover the debt or they will take my belongings. I told them that was impossible because I used my laptop and the television to teach the children. The bailiffs then rang the council to set up a payment plan and the council refused. I was at my wit's end because I did not know what to do. I rang my brother who was at work. He picked up the phone and I was very relieved. He was upset with me. I then explained the problem and then he decided to help me. I was very upset because my assistant childminder was with me and the children at the time. I felt like I was intruded on in my own home. I joined Acorn because I wanted to be a voice for the people who find it difficult to speak up for themselves. I want to make the lives of everyone easier. There are other places who are not using private bailiffs to collect debt and it is working. We want to end the use of bailiffs and move the blame away from people who are struggling.
I had a bad experience in my 20s after I dropped out of university. I didn't have a job, I was living on my own and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be. I found myself getting into debt with a few bills and I was unable to pay my council tax. I couldn't speak to my parents because they weren't in a position to help me and to be honest I was embarrassed. I wanted them to be proud and see that I could go it alone, so I did what any other 20-something in my position would do and I ignored the letters. I came home one day to find a handwritten note on my car saying bailiffs were coming to take my car and other possessions from my house unless I called them. When 2 blokes came round and started sizing up my furniture, I didn't know I could refuse to let them in, that I had rights, that there were people I could go to for help. They asked me to prove I lived alone, and they went upstairs and started opening drawers and wardrobes in my bedroom. That encounter left me with severe anxiety whenever I had to deal with bills, and for a long time I found them impossible to face. All these years later, and we've faced similar problems as a country, unfortunately, poor enforcement practice is still widespread. Continuing down the road of intimidation and entering people's homes at ridiculous hours in the day is only going to cause more trauma. I joined Acorn to make a difference to people who are going through the mental and financial troubles that I went through. We seriously need to rethink the way we collect debt. That means tackling the root cause of missed payments by identifying vulnerable households, offering more payment flexibility, and offering better tax reduction schemes. The council needs to take action now.
As the need for debt justice grows, so too does our resolve. This is not an abstract problem. Every night, people across Manchester are going to bed panicking about what will happen to them if they can't pay the bills. They come to us when they're fed up and they're ready to take back power. If we stand together, we can put an end to this cruel and unnecessary practice. So join Acorn, join the campaign, and help us boot the bailiffs.